ocean that no one can see, but it's always in motion all around you and me. It provides us our breezes, our soft summer nights, our storms and our rainbows, our bright northern lights. See the clouds as they drift through the crystal blue dome in the ocean of air that encircles our home. Our home is the earth. The earth is our home. We all need to care for the water, land, and air. Without air, there'd be no wind, no thunder, no soaring eagles or brightly colored kites. The earth would be as lifeless as the moon. Our home is the earth. The earth is our home. We all need to care for the water, land, and air. The earth is our home. Hi, I'm Slim Goodbody, and I want you to do something with me right now. Hold your hands out like this and wiggle your fingers like this. All right, now, put them in front of your face and make sure nothing blocks your view. All right, now look at those fingers. Do you see anything between your eye and your hand?
No.
Nothing at all?
No.
Wait a second, does it seem like it's empty?
Yes.
It does. Well, the truth is there actually is something there. Now, you can't see it. Look for it. Yeah, no. You can't smell it. Smell it. You can't taste it. Try to taste it. You can't feel it. Try to feel it. No, you can't do all those things, but there's something there. It's invisible, but it's called the atmosphere. Atmosphere, from the Greek word atmos, meaning vapor or gas. Our atmosphere is held to the Earth's surface by the force of gravity. But the further from the Earth we go, the weaker the pull of gravity, and so our atmosphere becomes thinner and thinner. Let's go take a ride and see. The lowest layer of the atmosphere is the troposphere, the weather layer. Next comes the stratosphere, the layer of high winds. The stratosphere also contains ozone, a protective gas. Higher still is the mesosphere. In this layer of the atmosphere, most meteors from space are burned up. Next comes the exosphere, the final layer of the atmosphere. We couldn't live up here because the atmosphere is far too thin and the temperature is way too cold. So let's descend back down to the troposphere. The troposphere is sometimes called the life layer because that's where living things thrive. Our atmosphere is made up of many different gases. 3 of the main ones are
Nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide.
right, and oxygen is essential to human life. I want you all to take a big breath right now and let it out. One more. Every minute of every day, 16 million times a year, you take a little bit of the atmosphere in, use it, and let it back out. When you breathe in, air flows into your lungs. Your lungs take some of the oxygen out of the air and pass it into your blood. The blood carries the oxygen to the cells in your body, where it's used to change the food you eat into the energy and warmth you need to live. During this process, a gas called carbon dioxide is produced. The blood carries the carbon dioxide to your lungs. When you breathe out, you exhale the carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Plants use this carbon dioxide. They take it in through their leaves, combine it with sunlight, water, and minerals from the soil, and produce what they need to live and grow. During this process, oxygen is produced and released into the atmosphere so that we and other animals can breathe it in. In this never-ending cycle, living things share the air. But the breath of life is only one of the many gifts our atmosphere provides. We
could not be living here if not for a friendly atmosphere. It's very clear we would disappear if not for the atmosphere. Near the top of the stratosphere is a band of gas called the ozone layer. This ozone gas acts as a protective shield against the sun's ultraviolet rays. That's important because if these ultraviolet rays were to reach the Earth's surface without being filtered, they would be very damaging to life. They could kill small organisms, like the plankton in the sea that fish feed on, and they can cause skin cancer in humans. Ozone filters these rays, acting like a special kind of umbrella, protecting us from the full effects of this powerful radiation. We could not be living here without our friendly atmosphere. Our skin would fry in the ultraviolet if not for the atmosphere. Without the atmosphere, the Earth would be like the moon, broiling hot on the sunny side, freezing cold on the dark side. But the atmosphere shelters us from the fierce heat and cold of outer space. Here's how. Carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has the ability to hold in warmth. It absorbs heat coming directly from the sun and heat given off by the Earth. It distributes it around the globe, and this helps to keep the Earth at the right temperature for life. We could not be living here without our friendly atmosphere. There'd be no breeze, we'd burn and freeze if not for the atmosphere. Thousands of meteors, space rocks, would come crashing to the ground every day, doing terrible damage if they didn't burn up in the atmosphere before they had a chance to hit the Earth.
We would not survive, I fear, without a shielding atmosphere. The falling rocks would stop our clocks if not for the atmosphere.
Without the atmosphere, so many of our simple pleasures would be lost. There'd be no smells because air carries odors, and we couldn't hear because sound travels through the air. No yummy smells, no sound of bells. The world would be so dry and drear. No, we would not be living here if not for the atmosphere. If not for the atmosphere. If not for the atmosphere. Because we share the air, we have to take care of the air. But recently, we haven't been doing our part. Instead of helping the atmosphere, we've been harming it. And when we harm the atmosphere, we're harming ourselves. People have been polluting the atmosphere, pouring poisonous gas, dust, and ash into the air, which we can end up breathing into our lungs. People have also been harming the protective ozone layer. It may be getting thinner. Scientists think that man-made chemicals called CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, are to blame. CFCs are used in refrigerators, air conditioners, and polystyrene foam. When released, they float up to the stratosphere, where they can eat away at the protective ozone shield. And then there's global warming, also called the greenhouse effect. Have you ever gotten into a car on a hot summer day with the windows all rolled up? Well, the reason it gets so hot is that the glass windows let in the light of the sun, but don't let out the heat. So the heat builds up, trapped inside the car. Scientists have found evidence that the same kind of thing is starting to happen in our atmosphere. Earlier we said carbon dioxide helps hold heat in the atmosphere and keeps the Earth at the right temperature. The problem is, now there may be too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere.
Too much? Where'd it come from?
From us, from our factories and our car exhausts. When they burn fuel, they release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And the destruction of forests makes the problem worse. When we cut down trees, they can no longer absorb carbon dioxide from the air. And when the trees are burned, that releases carbon dioxide into the air.
What will happen?
Many scientists believe that this extra carbon dioxide will hold in so much heat that temperatures on the Earth will begin to rise.
Like when we get a hot day here?
No, I mean temperatures all over the world will rise and stay that way, year-round.
If the worldwide temperature warms up by just a few degrees, the polar ice could melt and raise the levels of the seas. The coastal plains would flood, towns destroyed by waves and mud. We've got to stop before it
once were rich with grain would suffer due to drought. And animals that once had home now would be without. There'd be massive weather change, howling storms and hurricanes. We've got to stop before it gets too hot. We've got to stop before it gets too hot.
Is anybody doing anything to help?
Around the world, people are starting to try. Auto manufacturers are building cars with cleaner exhausts that release fewer harmful chemicals into the air. And people are working against global warming. They're planting new trees and restoring damaged forests. CFCs have been banned from many products to protect the ozone layer. And solar power is now providing a non-polluting form of energy. But it's everyone's job to help keep our atmosphere healthy. Every day, there's something you can do to care for the air. We share the air. We've all got to do our part. Take care of the air. And now's the time to start. Ride your bike instead of the car, or use your feet if it's not too far. 'Cause a turkey sandwich and a piece of fruit is the kind of fuel that will not pollute the air we share. We've all got to do our part. Take care of the air. And now's the time to start. Don't use machines for opening cans or air conditioners when you could use fans. Turn down the heat, 'cause each degree will make our world more pollution-free. Share the air. Oh, we've all got to do our part. Take care of the air. And now's the time to start. And every time you plant a tree, you're cleaning up the air we breathe. You can write to members of the government and say to the Congress and the President, take care of the air. Oh, we've all got to do our part. Take care of the air. And now's the time